Two women delivering a pizza shot in a West Side neighborhood.
Police say the gunman opened fire as soon as the women got out of their Domino's delivery car. Jason Colthorpe is live at the 8th Precinct. Jason, what are police saying about the shooter?
Well, they're saying it could be shooters, Kim, tonight. Police telling me a short time ago they believe there are two suspects in this. How many of them were firing the shots? They don't know that yet, but they do know one neighborhood was peppered with bullets, including a home where a woman was watching her 5-month-old grandbaby. It was an afternoon pizza order, but when two young women from the Domino's on West McNichol showed up to deliver it on Oakfield, shots rang out. They scrambled back to their car, but each was shot as they did. The 19-year-old woman was grazed, but the other, a 21-year-old woman, was shot in the face.
I was just, sitting here. Me and my little grandson was just sitting here looking at television. Next thing I know, it sounded like as if my house was being ripped apart.
That's how this grandmother, who didn't want to be identified, described what she heard while watching her 5-month-old grandbaby.
Immediately, I saw the hole in the ceiling here, and I instantly just grabbed my grandson and I ran upstairs to safety.
How many would you say you have in the house?
Well, what the police had just found, and they found, I had counted 4, but they actually ended up finding like about 3 more.
So 7 bullets hit your house?
Yes, ripped through my house here.
At one point, heavily armed officers approached the door of the home where it's believed the pizza order was called in. But they did not enter. Investigators then worked the scene, pinpointing the shots fired, 7 of which hit one home with a baby inside.
Very terrifying, very terrifying. I'm still shooken up about it now.
So glad they were able to get to safety. Now, a little bit more on the suspects here. Police believe they got away in a red mid-size sedan. That's as specific as they have on that. As for a motive, no idea. This was not a robbery. They don't know if they knew those girls delivering the pizza. And also a quick update on her condition. The girl that was shot in the face, she is currently in serious condition. We'll be following that for sure. We're at the 8th Precinct tonight. Jason Colthorpe, Local 4.
That we will. Okay, Jason, thank you.
A community on edge. Police investigating report of multiple shots fired today in Lynchburg. We're told several vehicles and a home were hit on Brook Street near Miller Park. No one was hurt, but one neighbor tells us she is scared for her life.
I heard pop, 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 and it scared the crap out of me. So I walked outside and there was nobody there. And I went to talk to the neighbors and everybody else heard the same thing.
And she says she's heard gunshots 4 times in 1 month.
Man from Humboldt Park says he and his family are lucky to be alive tonight after gunmen fired dozens of shots during an attempted carjacking to them over the weekend.
Yeah, WGN's Julian Cruz has more on their harrowing story.
Good evening. It's hard to believe 29 shots. That's how many shell casings Chicago police are said to have recovered from the scene here early Monday morning, according to a 36-year-old father of 2 who is giving thanks tonight that miraculously nobody was killed in this brazen attack.
And then when my wife starts screaming like, oh my God.
The victims, too afraid to reveal their identity, still badly shaken by Monday's violent carjacking.
And those 2 guys was coming out with the guns.
It was a moment of terror with the would-be carjackers opening fire as the family parked their SUV behind their home on the 2800 block of West Chicago Avenue.
My daughter, she's almost 9. She was on bed of me.
The 36-year-old father with his wife and 3-year-old son in the family SUV rolling up to their Humboldt Park condo close to 3 o'clock Monday morning after a red-eye flight from Miami.
And you think that when you were in California, you think that's when they spotted you?
The father believes he was followed by a dark-colored Nissan Altima off California Avenue. 2 masked gunmen, according to detectives, unleashing a hailstorm of bullets, piercing the family's vehicle multiple times before the gunmen inexplicably fled the scene. Investigators later telling the family they recovered 29 shell casings on the pavement.
And there is another bullet hole right by my head. 1 more on the bed by my daughter.
1 bullet going through the father's leg, narrowly missing arteries and bone. He was treated and released from Stroger Hospital.
We are very thankful.
The father so very thankful that his children and wife were uninjured, but he's speaking out to warn others. Chicago police are looking for your help. If you have any information, you're asked to call Area 3 Chicago Police. In Humboldt Park, Julie.
Police say a 19-year-old died after being shot inside a North Philadelphia convenience store. 3 people were shot in total inside the store on North 22nd Street around 11:30 this morning. The 19-year-old who died was shot in the chest. Another man was shot in the stomach, and a third was grazed by a bullet across his nose. Those 2 men went to the hospital and were initially listed as stable. No word on any arrests at this time. Katie Johnston for CBS Philly.
Also breaking overnight, a 40-year-old man shot on his front porch in Kensington. Police say the shooting happened just after 1 o'clock this morning on the 2000 block of Albright Street. That man was taken to the hospital in critical condition. So far, no arrests.
Kathy, thank you. 501, this breaking news from overnight. A man's in the hospital. He was shot while driving.
This happened on Aldine Westfield and the North Beltway in North Houston. That's where we find Vincent Crivelli with the latest information on the investigation. Vincent, what are you learning about the victim?
Lisa, authorities say the gunshot victim was losing a lot of blood, so they applied a tourniquet and possibly saved his life. That gunshot victim did crash behind me. Take a look. Detectives say around 2:45 this morning, two drivers were traveling westbound on the feeder road. Then for some reason, the driver of a gray Cadillac CTS opened fire on a black sedan. Authorities say the shooter fired several shots, and one of the bullets struck the driver of the black sedan in the leg, who veered off the road and crashed into a pillar under the Beltway. The shooter sped off, and the gunshot victim was taken to the hospital. Investigators say he will survive.
The initial information is another person in another vehicle open fired, discharging a firearm several times at this vehicle, which, like I said, resulted in the gunshot wound to the leg of the victim.
And right now, detectives are searching for witnesses who saw the shooting. And coming up at 6, I'll have much more information on this shooting. For now, reporting live in North Houston, Vincent Crivelli, KPRC, Channel 2 News.
All right, Vincent, thank you. 503.
A deadly crime spree starting in Texas, running through Nevada and ending in Arizona is now over, and the suspects in custody. This happened Thanksgiving Day with shootings all across Henderson, including at a 7-Eleven store at Lake Mead Parkway and Center Street. Joe Moeller unravels the story and brings us an update on multiple victims.
And the people involved allegedly shot at nearly a dozen people that morning. The 7-Eleven store behind us here on Lake Mead Parkway was turned into a crime scene on Thanksgiving Day. A total of 4 people were shot here. One of them did die. Here is a memorial that's growing outside of the 7-Eleven store. 22-year-old Kevin Mendiola Jr. was shot and killed. As these candles continue to flicker, the questions surrounding a deadly shooting linger. Thanksgiving Day, the 7-Eleven store in Henderson was surrounded with caution tape after shots rang out. In a police report obtained by 8 News Now Monday, we learned more about what happened. Police identified 3 suspects as Sean and Christopher McDonald and Kaylee Lewis, whose mugshot we also obtained from the arresting agency in Arizona. According to the report, all 3 were in a black sedan with Texas plates that morning. They were driving in the Henderson area and randomly shooting at people in their cars. After shooting at several drivers, the 3 eventually came to this 7-Eleven where they shot 4 people. Mendiola was killed. The others were taken to the hospital. 2 of them were with Mendiola at the time. After the store shooting, police say they fled down Lake Mead Parkway and shot someone else in a car. That victim went to the hospital as well. Hundreds of miles away later that day, they were all allegedly involved in an officer-involved shooting in Arizona, and that is where they were taken into custody. One of the suspects was flown to a hospital. Why they were all allegedly shooting at random people is still not known. Police were able to match descriptions from witnesses to security cameras. Police say they believe Christopher McDonald is the one responsible for Mendiola's death. He is now facing an open murder charge with a deadly weapon. Reporting in Henderson, Joe Mueller, 8 News Now.
And Baltimore County Police are investigating a shooting at a gas station in Woodlawn. Happened last night at the Carroll Fuel Station along Liberty Road. Officers say when they arrived at the scene, they saw evidence of a shooting, but no victim. Well, the victim was later found at an area hospital and is expected to recover. Investigators believe that the shooting may have been targeted.
3 men were shot just before midnight, and they were outside of a South St. Louis bar.
It was outside of the Shot Heaven bar on Gravois at Eichelberger. All 3 victims were all conscious when taken to the hospital. One of them suffered a graze wound.
Right now, Milwaukee police are investigating a fatal shooting from overnight that left a 17-year-old boy dead. Police tell us it happened just before 9:30 last night near 91st and Appleton, and officers are trying to figure out just what happened here. We are told the 17-year-old died from multiple gunshot wounds while being taken to the hospital. And police say if you do know anything about what happened, to please give them a call.
This morning, Mount Dora police are working to figure out who fired shots at a convenience store, leaving a man dead and a man critically hurt. It happened late last night inside the T&N Market off North Grandview Street. Ezzy Castro's there live now, and police still don't know what led to this, Ezzy.
No, they don't, Bridget, but this morning you can see right behind me that there's yellow crime scene tape all around this convenience store. And this is what we know at this hour. Mount Dora police say it happened at 9 o'clock last night here at the T&N Market on North Grandview Street. When they got here, they found a man and a woman inside the store with gunshot wounds. Unfortunately, the woman was pronounced dead at the scene. The man was taken to the hospital in Sanford, and we're told he's in critical condition. Now, officers were here for the most part of the night. They had some of Grandview Street blocked off for hours, and at this point, it's still not clear what exactly led up to the violence. Now, that is a question that we will be asking Mount Dora police later on today. And of course, if they're even looking for a suspect at this point. Now, as for the names of the victims, that has not been released just yet. But for now, live in Mount Dora, Ezzy Castro getting Results News 6.